MacVoices at NAB 2024. MacVoices is at NAB in Las Vegas. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, last year we talked to Glen Mulcahy about some of the interesting things that were happening then. There are even more interesting things that are happening now. Glen, it's great to see you again.
And delighted to be with you here, Chuck. Thanks a million.
Yeah, I've been chasing you all over the show floor. You're a busy guy.
I've done 8 sessions between BEA and NAB this time. So yeah, I've been run off my feet. But hey, that's a good thing, you know.
So I'd love to introduce you as what you're doing now, what you did then. You have so much stuff going on, though, that I have no idea how I should introduce you.
Yeah,
so,
I'm kind of struggling to know what to say at this stage myself, to be honest. So last year when we spoke, I think I was there as an ambassador with Filmmaking Pro. I was also there with my startup, my Mojo. I was doing a bit with LumaTouch as well. So we were kind of in front of those 3 stands.
Right.
I'm still doing some work with LumaTouch, but I'm also doing some work now with Tilta. Filmmaking Pro, not so much since the acquisition and the fact that they've kind of been killed off. So that's a real pity, but that's how much changes in a year. I am doing training with the CNN Academy still. So that's the day job most of the time.
And I've been watching you on LinkedIn do some of that. And I think it's a fascinating way you approach it because we're in an election year. I saw something somewhere that there are going to be more elections this year than any other year in history.
That's right, yeah.
So you're helping prepare journalists to cover this.
Yeah, I've actually this year I put together a brand new course to teach people, again, using mobile ultimately, but to focus their skills specifically on reporting in elections. I've been collaborating with an app which will allow you to do motion graphics on your phone, so specifically election graphics. So anyone from a local newspaper to a medium-sized brand that doesn't have a big graphics team can basically just access the app. And I think the developer's going to make it free just because of the year that's in it. So I'm hoping that's going to take off. So that's exciting. And yeah, I'm doing the normal journalism stuff and the masters in Dublin as well. So
that's great. And you have a new toy that I'm anxious to have you talk about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been, I would say, collaborating with Tilta for about a month and a half now on this. And kind of really excited to see the final production versions coming out in the market. This was teased as far back as Christmas, and I didn't know it was coming. So I saw the video on Christmas Day of all days and just kind of went, oh hell, and kind of reached out and went, when, just tell me, I want to find out more. So they kind of sent me a prototype about a month ago to give some feedback and everything on. And this is now the production version. And I have to say, I actually commented possibly on a post on LinkedIn as well, that I've been hacking together rigs since 2010 with the Audi Bubo and the AR4i and all those early iterations that came out with the early version of the iPhone. And all the time it was always a case of kind of, I call them Franken-cams, like Frankenstein's, but Franken-cams, because you're hacking, you're soldering stuff, you're sticking bits on, there's extra arms, there's extra holders, and they're often from a load of different vendors. And often what I would get as a trainer in the field is I'd go into an organization, do the training, and they would inevitably say, what gear should we buy? And I'd give them a list, so you need this, and then it's like, well, where do I get to these? Well, that's Amazon, that's a local photography shop. Like there was never one consolidated solution. It was always like scattergun. Well, there is one solution now. And this rig, I'm really genuinely excited about it because the way that they've built it, this modular system is actually incredibly clever. So I'm just going to show you actually, I'll whip that aside for a second and just say, that's my phone from last year, complete with a picture of my pregnant wife. That's my phone from last year with an OtterBox case. And this is the heart of the system that they've just built. Just look at the size of the cases side by side. All right? Pretty much identical.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Right? Pretty much
a little thinner maybe, but...
Yeah, right. So, I mean, the beauty of it is they've designed the fundamental core of it as an everyday case, complete with a little credit card holder in the back, which is a nice little touch, right? But once you have this, all you need to do then is custom choose the accessories that you want for your particular use case. So if you're a mobile journalist, you definitely want your microphone in. You might want to record to an external drive. You definitely want battery power on the go. They've given you all those solutions. If you're a filmmaker, you can basically add on one of their high-end follow focus units. That's integrated into the Blackmagic Design Camera app. So you can now get granular control of focus or zoom and run stop with an external controller here. And if I swap back over to the unit, this is what's really cool. This is the mid unit. So this 5,000 milliamp battery pack actually also has focus control here, and you can toggle between focus and zoom and still do run stop. And what's kind of clever about it is that battery supplies power the whole way around the actual unit. So you can put on whatever accessories you want, and it actually supplies all the power from in here. So that's the kind of heart of the case and the power grip. But then the other thing that was really exciting, and again, this is something that blew me away. I kind of said one of the shortcomings or one of the challenges is if you need to have external recording and power and a USB-C based microphone, the iPhone's only got one connection. So you got to get some sort of a hub somewhere in your rig. So they basically took that and went, yeah, we can fix that too. So this unit here basically is a USB-C hub, streamlined. It's also got HDMI out, which the Blackmagic app will give you clean HDMI out if you want to use it as a live streaming source. It has audio monitoring, so you can plug in a pair of headphones into it. You can do analog in or you can do digital in. You can actually power it from an extra bank or from a mains power. There's basically, in this rig, it's addressed every single little pain point that existed in mobile production or filmmaking. You got your neutral density filters and mounts for external camera lenses if you want. So yeah, it's for the first time ever, and I think I started playing with mobile phones in 2007, but for the first time ever, you can go to one vendor and bet all the accessories, and they've just here, it was a sneak peek, I don't even think it's official. This bottom of the actual USB-C hub, it's actually a tripod plate and sits onto their brand new prototype tripod as well.
There you go.
So everything you need. The only thing that's not on it, can you spot what's missing? The microphone. And that means that you can basically USB-C in your Rode or your DJI or whatever it is that you fancy, your Shure mic, whatever else it is, whatever solution you have, and everything else is straight out of the box.
I still have enough mounts to even do a shotgun if I wanted to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I'm not even showing all the accessories. I mean, You can see a ton of the stuff behind me because there really are a lot. There's loads of different variations. And what I think is, again, very clever, because it's modular, you can start with a fairly basic kit, which has got 2 grips, maybe the USB hub, and that's like $299. And then if you want to build out the real high-end pro filmmakers kit, that at peak, where all the bits, bells and whistles, is about $520. So I know some people are kind of go, oh, I got such and such a brand on Amazon, it was like $10. And it's like, well, the good thing is in the market, there's someone for everyone. Right. This is for professionals. This is for power users who are probably making money and who can earn back from it.
May I?
Yeah, please.
I'm curious. Okay, so it's got some heft to it.
It does. It's what do you call it? Aluminum. We say aluminium, but aluminum frame. Everything's aluminium, basically.
Yeah, but it's not unreasonably heavy.
No.
For what it is, and again, I'm holding a battery pack. I'm holding a USB hub, along with everything else that you mentioned. Mm. So yeah.
So I mean, and again, you're absolutely right. Like there has to be this kind of balance, if you like, in the weight. You don't want to be there kind of going, oh my God, I can't hold it anymore.
Yeah.
But in fairness, like when I was talking to these guys the other day, when I first saw the actual production version, I was sort of saying, so if someone is shooting, let's say for an hour, is there anything else that you could add onto it that would maybe help with that? And they went, yeah, well, what about one of the soft little shoulder rigs that we have that pack up that could snap onto it? So they already have accessories that you could build out if you really wanted. So they have a whole ecosystem, and that's the bit that I think is really impressive.
That is. I'm going to take a walk over here after we're finished. So you got this great tool. Mm-hmm. How are you teaching? I was about to say the kids. That's not it, because we're still kids, right?
I'd like to think.
Yeah, well, we act like it. Anyway.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah.
But how are you teaching the young people that are going to be doing the coverages to approach some of this responsibly in a world where it seems like the winner is always the hype, is always the controversy, as opposed to the issues and the substance?
That's a really great question. So, I mean, you said it at the start of this, right? This isn't a really important election year right around the world. For probably the best 12 months, have been kind of talking at conferences about the risks of AI, and I have a whole kind of one-day course. I've done it for CNN even, just talking about what I fear are the biggest risks this year. So with the students that I teach, who are, they're 20-somethings, they're digital natives, they're not afraid of AI. Arguably, they're probably using it in their term papers. Who knows? It's hard to tell. But the bottom line is that I fear that we're at this kind of inflection point where people could nefariously use AI this year to kind of bombard the traditional verification systems that are in place in newsrooms. Like the thing about AI is like anyone can access it. You don't really need a very high IQ to be able to use a prompt, although the good ones obviously take a bit of work. But the bottom line is if you do that on scale, you can create a massive disinformation kind of machine extremely quickly. And the problem is that a lot of the traditional verification systems rely on human intervention. There's someone sitting there trying to cross-reference metadata or cues in the visuals and stuff. That's great if it's just 1 or 2 or 3 pieces of content in an hour. What happens if it's 1 or 2, 3,000 pieces of content in an hour? So I think the social networks that we rely on, and either love or hate, I think we're going to see them swamped this year with disinformation. And I'll throw you just one piece of information about this. This is about the ethics of it. BBC did a really interesting documentary about TikTok and X. And they talked to an influencer who basically is what I would call a disinformation influencer. That's what he actually does. And, they got an interview with him. And they asked him, what is your motivation? Why do you do this? Why do you generate all this highly antagonistic disinformation? And he went, because I can make a living doing it. And the researcher said, explain that to me. He said, it's really simple. The more inflammatory the posts that I put out on Instagram or X, the more abuse I get back, which the algorithm sees as engagement. So the more it promotes it to a bigger audience, and I can guarantee a viral hit every time I do it. So the algorithm is kind of broken, and if you blast tons of disinformation at it, the whole thing's going to fall over. It's going to be a really interesting year.
That's terrifying.
Kind of is, because the real risk is that we'll hit one of these really big unexpected outcomes of an election where someone had an AI engine in their side, in their back pocket. I'll throw you back to 2015, 2016, Cambridge Analytica, kind of caught a lot of people off guard, the psychographic targeting. Well, AI can do that, and it doesn't need to do little kind of 12 groups. It could do personalized targeting. It can harvest your data footprint online, everything you've searched, everything you've bought, and really do a disinformation campaign targeted at you. So it's going to be, I think we're in that Rubicon stage where it's going to be, everything changes this year.
Wow. We could go at this for an hour, but we have a cocktail hour to go to.
That's true. Free booze.
Well, okay. I wasn't going to say that, but now that we're into it, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you, to follow what you do? Because I think your work is very, very important.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I mean, yeah, so this year in particular, I've spent a lot of energy on AI, particularly on the risk. I know there's loads of massive fanboys, and it's not that I don't think there's loads of wonderful applications for AI, but I'm a news guy true and true. Like, that's my background, 20 years in the business. This is going to be one of those years where I think we could be blindsided. I hope we're not. Like, hand on heart, I hope we're not. But if we're blindsided, then the conversations that kick off on the back of that are really going to be after the horse is bolted. So yeah, if people want to reach out and engage on this, I'm obviously on LinkedIn, I'm on X and everything with the name, most part. If you Google me, you'll find me anyway.
Okay. Glenn, thanks so much. It's great to see you again.
Thank you so much. Delighted to see you.
We will keep doing this.
I love it.
You think we'll get any smarter?
Well, the AI is going to take over anyway, isn't it? So who cares?
Good point. Good point.
Get good at gardening.
At least I can grow what I eat.
Hey, there you go. Self-sufficiency, yeah.
I don't know how we got off topic, folks. This is MacVoices at NAB. I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.